right, guys, you're almost there. You've got this video and one more video to check out, and then you are done. You're ready to become a church member. You're ready to begin looking for that time when we'll gather together to answer questions, and a chance for you to ask questions and get some things figured out and all of that. And then we move forward on you becoming a church member. So I hope you're excited. I hope the last video excited you a lot. I hope that you're ready to go and that you're eager in all of this to become a part of something great that God's doing right here. I really hope that you are inspired and ready to go on that. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit challenging maybe. You might sit here and listen to some of what I'm going to say and be like, well, I don't really like that. I don't really, want that. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. And here's what we're talking about today. We're talking about what does it mean to be a member of the church. What does that mean? What does it look like? In other words, what we're looking at is what are the requirements placed on you that you're agreeing to. These are things that you're saying, I will do these things, okay? And they're not all easy. Okay? They're challenging at times. But I honestly believe every single person who is loving Jesus and wants to see His mission accomplished and all of that, they're going to have no problem doing these things. And I'm not saying that you don't love Jesus if you struggle with things. I'm just saying that they're completely doable. You can do it. And it's nothing crazy and out of the ordinary, really. All we're saying is these are what we require of those who have said, I want to partner with you. I want to partner with the church on this mission, on this vision, and I'm ready to go, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're looking at what the requirements are. What are you agreeing to exactly, okay? So let's get into it a little bit. Let's talk about some of it. This is probably where you'll have the most questions. If some of this scares you off, if you're kind of like, hey, I don't want any part of this, that's too much. I want to encourage you, keep going. And then when we gather together in the time where we come so you can ask questions, bring your concerns, and hopefully I can answer them a little bit better in that setting. Or maybe someone else there is going to be able to answer them, and we can kind of take care of some of your worries, some of your fears, and all of that. So don't just shut down and shut off if you think that something is off and all of that. Bring a question and we'll dig into it and we'll ask. So a couple of things. What are the requirements for being a member of the church? Number one, you have to be a Christian. Okay? You have to be a Christian. And here's one of the things. We invite everybody to come to the church. We invite anybody. I don't care if you believe in Jesus or if you think He's as mythical as a unicorn. Come to the church, find out, hear what we have to say, learn to love God, learn to love Jesus, and then we'll begin to change. But for you to step in and be a member, you really have to be following Jesus. You have to be dedicated to following Jesus and loving Him and doing everything you can in your life. All right? So you have to be a Christian. Now, what that means, that means that you are actively striving to live a life that is pleasing to Him. So if we have some requirements on things as far as becoming a member. One, we say that, you know what? Alcohol can be dangerous. Okay? Drugs are dangerous. If you're a drug addict or if you're an alcoholic, we're going to say, you know what? It's great that you love Jesus, but we need to kind of get your life a little bit taken care of so that we're going on this right path together. Because when you become a member of the church, you represent this body, this entire group, to everybody out there. Okay? And so what we're doing is we're not saying Jesus doesn't love you because of this. That's absolutely not what we're saying. What we're saying is, hey, you really need to have submitted your life to Christ completely. And that means that you have to give up some things sometimes. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not trying to say that it's just simple and you should be able to do it like it's nothing. I'm not saying that at all, because it can actually be incredibly challenging in order to do that. But you have to be a Christian. If you're not even sure if you are a Christian, I want to encourage you, get involved in one of our small groups. Preferably get involved in one of the small groups that are new, because they're going to be talking about some of the foundational aspects of Christianity. So you can talk to any of the leadership within the church about that and about, going in that direction. If we need to do something specific for you, we will. We would love to do that because we want you to be on that journey of faith. We want you to be a Christian. We want all of that. But you do have to be a Christian and be living a life that is submitted to Christ, submitted to the Word of God, and in a way that's pleasing to Him. So the next part, a lot of people have a hard time with this. If I can just be very honest, a lot of people struggle with this right here. We ask that you financially support the church. Everything we do costs money. We support missionaries overseas, which is one of our big things. We believe that God wants people all over the world to come into a relationship with Him, and that means sending people over there to do things, okay? We have costs just to operate, just to do the things we do, just to create this video costs us money. And so it's one of those deals where, no, I'm not in it just to get your money, okay? Absolutely not. Yeah, I'm not going to come to somebody and be like, hey, you're not giving, you need to get this taken care of, any of that. I'm not going to do that. But you do need to be supporting the church. You do need to be invested in the church, because if you're not trusting God with your money, if you're not even trusting the church with your money, then you really don't trust God or the church. Okay? That's really the best way to look. And maybe you're sitting here and you're like, you know what? I would love to give to the church, but I just don't trust the church with my money. Then I want to encourage you, find somewhere where you can, okay? And I say that because if we've done something that has made you not trust us, then one, we should have some conversations about that. I would really love to. But two, you need to be somewhere where you feel like you can fully invest and all of that. And it's also one of those deals where if you become a member, you are making decisions, sometimes major financial decisions for the church. And if you're not financially invested at all, then it's really unfair to those who have given, who are financially invested in the church and all of that. So again, people get caught up on all of that. And so if you need to have a conversation about giving and why we believe, that you should be financially invested and all of that, we can do that, absolutely. Now, usually the question that comes up after this is, okay, how much do I give? Like, is there a minimum requirement? Like, a lot of organizations that you join, when you come in, they say, here's kind of the dues, here's the fees, here's what it costs in order for you to be a member. Here's your membership costs. And it's really not that way here at the church. Now, what we do is we usually tell people that a good starting point is to do what's called the tithe. Okay? Now, that might be, maybe you've heard about it, maybe it's got some negative connotation, maybe it's something you're not sure about. But the tithe means 1/10, so 10% of your finances, okay? Now, for a lot of people, if we can just be really honest, that's hard. Like, that's not always easy to do that. And if you're sitting here going, I would love to be able to give that much, but I can't. I just don't know that I can. Or maybe you're like my husband, my wife, they're not fully sold on that, so we can't do that. Then figure something out and begin to go in that direction and see if God blesses you, see if God does some things, and then you can begin to come up and bring it up and bring it up. Now, we're not, I'll just be honest, okay? You may come and you may say, all right, I'm going to give, and I'm going to give however much it is. I'm not going to even make up a number in case it's too close to what you actually give, But maybe you're like, I'm going to give this much, and no, it's not 10%. No, it's not any of that. You know what? I'm never going to come to you, and I'm never going to ask, how much do you make? Are you giving 10%? I'm not going to do that. This is one of those honor systems. We all are agreeing together, myself included, that you know what? We are financially invested in this mission, okay? The mission does have a price tag. It does cost. And we are committed financially together as a group to see that mission accomplished. So that's one of the requirements we do ask. You need to be financially invested. And again, if we need to have more conversations on this matter, on this whole thing, feel free to grab me. I'd love to sit down over a cup of coffee, talk with you about it. Or if you want to do it in the gathering where there's a larger group of people, and because maybe they all have the same sort of questions, great. I'm not afraid to talk about money whatsoever. I'm not afraid to talk about how much I'm invested, how much I do. Money is not a sacred thing to me by any means, okay? It's not something we should be hush-hush on. It's a part of life. It's something we should talk about and all of that. So if that scares you a little bit in all of it, if maybe that kind of turns you off a little bit, sometimes that has with people, just come and ask some questions about it and really hear my heart behind why this is a requirement, what it means, all of that, okay? Let's move on to the next part because we can get stuck on that for a while just because I know it is challenging to people. Another aspect that we really ask is we want you to be involved. Okay? You need to be involved. You need to be here on Sunday mornings. Now, does that mean you can never take a vacation? No, I'm not even going to be here every single Sunday morning. We ask that you are committed to the church. We ask that you come and you gather together with other believers. Now, sometimes work gets in the way and you want to be a member, but you work, and how does that work? You know what? We try to put videos up online. You can still see the content, see all of it, and then be involved in a small group. Okay? Because the small group's really big. If you're a member of the church, let me just say this. If you're a member of the church, Sunday morning is not for you. Okay? Sunday morning is for all of those people who are just checking Jesus out. Okay? Sunday morning is not for you. Sunday morning is your opportunity to serve other people, whether it's being on the media team, the worship team, the greeter team, or even dealing with the kids and working with them and pouring into their lives, okay? All of those are ways that you can serve other people. Okay, Sunday morning is not for you, it's your opportunity to serve others. Remember, that leadership aspect starts with being a servant. So we want you to be involved in the Sunday morning. We want you to be involved in helping and volunteering and all of that. But we also really want you to be involved in one of the small groups. Okay? You need to be in a small group. In fact, on the application that you'll see, there is a section where it says, where you are saying, I agree to be a part of the discipleship process and be involved in a small group. Because being involved in that small group is an opportunity for you to grow, but also for you to help others to grow, for you to get involved in other people's lives. Okay? It's so, so, so important that you're willing to be involved in other people's lives. Okay? And that's pretty much it. As far as the requirements of being a member, you've got to be a Christian. Plain and simple. You have to, okay? You've got to be a Christian if you want to be a member of the church. Second part, you've got to be financially invested. We ask that you give, and if you can't give a lot, if you're scared of that, if you're all of that, don't worry about it. Just begin somewhere. Just begin somewhere and be invested in the mission of the church, the mission that we've got, which we talked about in the last video. Okay? So you've got to have that portion. The next one is you've got to be involved. You've got to be involved in serving. You've got to be involved in a small group. You've got to be all of those things. Because remember, in the reasons on why you become a church member, and one of them was accountability. When people start going off a path, we want to hurry and be able to grab them and bring them back. Those small groups is a great way to do that. Serving together alongside other people is an incredible way to do that, okay? So, that's it for this video. We've got one more video, and this next video is going to be a little bit shorter. It's just a what do I do next, okay? So download the PDF, look through it, write it out, look at your workbook, ask questions, be ready for all of that. If you've got concerns, feel free to get in contact with me. Feel free to come to the meeting that we're going to have together and get involved there and ask the questions. But don't let some of the requirements scare you away. Instead, make them cause you to ask more questions, all right? There's one video left. You're almost done. You're almost done with this video series, and then you can submit your, come in and submit to be a blah. You're almost done. It's almost done with the series. You've got one more video to go, and we'll see you there here in just a minute.